By just seeing the background behind me, one may readily know which city I'm in. This is the Marikina River Park, an everyday sight for many commuters passing by bridges along and around the Marikina River.
This huge space in the city hosts endless sorts of recreational activities, from shopping to dining and exercising. But if there's any deafening message to the public place that is open for everyone to use, it's the reason why Marikina is well recognized for its advocacy for order and cleanliness. While the city's brand might have always been about its shoes, we find out today that there's so much more about Marikina.
And in recent years, Marikina has flourished in terms of business and development, which can readily be seen through the influx of new establishments finding their home here in the city. But how has the city really changed? What's the usual Marikina like these days? What's still there and what's still new? So let's explore the old and the new that bring beauty into the city.
This is Imagine Philippines, Marikina.
Today, Marikina has exceptionally established itself as a culinary destination. A variety of restaurants has since attracted people from all around the country to try what they have to offer.
While the city is still young in its area of culinary cultivation, many food establishments here today promise a thriving food culture in the city. At least, that's the talk of the town. Up next, the Marikina Food Crawl.
Our first stop in our Marikina food adventure is at Rustic Mornings by Isabelo. Located at 11 Isabelo, Mendoza Street in San Roque, Marikina, Rustic Mornings is a hidden gem of a garden restaurant that's best known for its one-of-a-kind fresco-style dining sceneries and its unique ambience, which puts an exclamation point on its stake in being the most popular garden restaurant in the metro.
Okay, Rustic Mornings actually came from how I want my breakfast to be. So I was imagining I wake up in my room with wide windows and a nice white curtain. I come out to my garden and I have my unpretentious breakfast where no one will judge me, no matter how much food I eat for breakfast. And I'm not the type of person who eats with nice chinaware, dinnerware. I just wanted to be rustic, real, unpretentious. And I just combined it with morning, with a kind of morning I want. So it became Rustic Mornings. Okay, Rustic Mornings, we are really known for our waffle churros. Of course, we're also known for our pancakes. But I have this dish called the tinapa burrito. It's a dish that I did for one of the shows in one of the big channels. And they wanted me to keep serving it to them. And so, okay, then maybe I should serve it in the restaurant. And right now, it's a bestseller. We call it the tinapa burrito. We have a beef version. And another dish that's also a bestseller is our number 29, wherein you have a combination of our French toast sausages, bacon, and eggs. And then you match that with extra hash browns. The only kind of hash browns you would see in Manila is the one that I make. For those who haven't been here, I think it's time to come visit us. We're here in Marikina. It's quite far, but your trip is going to be definitely worth it.
We're just getting started. Our next food spot is bound to be another reason to drop by the city.
Pan de Americano wasn't always the beautiful garden restaurant it is today. It started out as a simple bread house in Ordonez Avenue, Marikina in the 1950s.
Pan de Americana was coined from the name Americano and also Marikina. So my father was a baker during the 1950s. And 2003, tinanong niya ako, gusto mo bang magtayo ng 1950s Pandesal Bakery? Kasi wala nang gumagawa. Nagsubok lang ako ng bakery na sinasabi niya. And gumawa kami nung malalaking pandesal. Kasi noon daw malalaki pandesal tsaka siksik. So, it came to a point na nagkaroon ng pandemic. Dinagdagan ko pa siya ng mga interesting places. Kasi kung magtatayo ka na rin lang ng restaurant, marami nagtatanong, ano bang negosyo mo talaga? Pagkain, pandesal. Sabi ko, hindi. Ang negosyo ko po, sabi ng tatay ko, kakaiba. Ang negosyo namin, nagtitinda po kami ng experience. So, ito talaga ang negosyo ko.
If Quezon City has Maginhawa, Makati City has Poblacion, and Pasig City has Capitolio, Marikina has Lilac Street, its neighborhood of restaurants. As we head over to our last food stop in our Marikina adventure, we find ourselves in one of Lilac Street's flavors, Dapo at Tisa, a cloud kitchen.
So, hi Sir Teng. Thank you for having us here. So, let's start with how about you tell us the story mo of when and how Dapo and Tisa started?
Dapat isa started 2015. Ano to it's parang expansion ng una naming restaurant na Ulo-Ulo restaurant. We're lucky kasi na yun pa-boom pa lang nun yung Lilac Street. So yun, naswertehan kami. Isa kami sa mga unang nakilala sa Lilac Street.
So, yung theme po ng store, no? Ano po naging theme ng Dapo at Tisa?
Yun. Yung ang ano namin talaga is yun nga, Filipino food. Tapos more on for the family. So yung business model namin ay small function rooms na mag-cater sa mga family. Gusto kasi namin maging bahay siya na luma. Since ang nakikita namin ng mga lumang bahay gawa ng bricks. Tapos yun nga, Tisa is yung Tagalog ng brick. Tapos yung Dapo naman is yung fern, yung malaking halaman yun. Yun ang ano. So yun ang concept namin. Merong malaking halaman na Dapo, tapos made of bricks yung house. Para Filipino.
So, mapunta naman tayo, sir, ngayon sa menu. So, what does Dapo and Tisa has to offer? Yung, siguro kahit yung bestsellers.
Yung sa appetizer namin is sizzling tofu. We're using kasi Japanese tofu for that. And then, of course, we have kare-kare for the family. Favorite ng mga family. And then, meron kami sinigang na lechon. Typical lechon na nagkaroon ng twist. Talagang we used real lechon. Nag-bake kami ng sarili namin lechon. And the last one is the seafood paella.
While we can only tell you through stories how good the food is here in Marikina, trust us, you'd want to taste it for yourself.
Marikina is best known for being the shoe capital of the Philippines. Even before shoemaking became an industry in Marikina, as we know it today, it was first a cultural tradition stemming from as early as 1887, when Don Laureano Guevara, aka Kapitan Moy, an important historical figure in Marikina, had worn out pair of British shoes which he took apart and painstakingly studied its ins and outs, literally, and then made patterns out of them.
He eventually fashioned his own pair of shoes with the assistance of a few fellow Mariqueños. The rest, as we say, is history.
We begin our adventure where it all started for Marikina's rise to popularity.
And thanks to the city's efforts to preserve historical articles and landmarks, the Capitan Moy House still stands proud for everyone to see until today.
Itong Capitan Moy House na to, natutuwa kami kasi ito na lang yung isang istruktura na talagang luma na. 233 years na itong bahay na to. At historically, culturally, napakahalaga kasi dito nagsimula ang shoe industry ng Marikina. Noong 1887, si Don Laureano Guevara, na siyang may-ari ng bahay na ito, Siya mismo ang nagsimula ng industriya ng paggawa ng sapatos. Dito sa galeriya na ito, sinasabi na dito unang ginawa ang unang para sa sapatos. Paano nangyari yon? Si Don Laureano Guevara ay nasira yung sapatos niya. Sa report or sa history, parang galing yata ito sa ibang bansa o parang Hong Kong. Tapos nasira siya. Tapos sabi niya, ang mga taga Marikina likas na masipag talaga. Kasi asyenda ng araw to eh. So, nagtatanim o magsasaka mga tao. Kaya lang, pag yung waiting for the harvest season, di ba? So, walang ginagawa. Kaya sabi niya, pag-aralan nga itong sapatos na to, siguro pag natutunan to, pwede siya maging isa paghanap buhay ng taga Marikina para meron din silang kabuhayan. So, tinawag niya yung kanyang tatlong kaibigan pa at sabi nila, sige, sirain natin yung sapatos, pagbaklas-baklasin natin, tapos tingnan natin kung paano mabubuo. So, naging tagumpay sila sa pagbuo ng sapatos na yon at tinuro nila yon sa mga taga Marikina.
We finally explore the shoemaking roots of Marikina. Enter the Marikina Shoe Museum. Found in JP Rizal Street in San Roque, Marikina, the museum hosts, among others, a collection of shoes from former presidents of the Philippines in chronological order. A variety of interesting shoe models can also be found inside the museum. The endeavor behind this museum is not only art, but posterity itself. Because Marikina is dubbed as the shoe capital of the Philippines, and the museum will always tell us why.
So first of all, good morning to everybody. Welcome to Marikina Shoe Museum. Formerly, they call this place as Footwear Museum Marikina. We have here shoes of our former Philippine presidents. We have shoes here of our senators, mga mambabatas. And then we have here shoes of our former mayors of Marikina and shoes of our celebrities, business tycoon, shoe designer, artist, and mga philanthropists.
It has been said that Marikina has not quite been the shoe capital it once was back in the days. As new businesses thrived and newer traditions emerged, the shoemaking brand of the city has become overshadowed in more ways than one. But did the shoemaking culture of Marikina really die? Something tells us it never did. For a craft that is so deeply rooted within the city, newer generations are bound to find interest in preserving or even improving what has always been a part of the city's brand, the art of shoemaking. Take the case of Zapateria, a shoemaker family-owned shoe store / creative hub for shoe design.
So this place was actually founded by Unix and Rico in 2017 after Rico got into an accident. So Rico is a fourth generation shoemaker hailing from a long heritage of Marikina entrepreneurs and shoemakers, craftspeople hailing here in Marikina City. So he got into an accident and Unix, the daughter, a fifth generation shoemaker, somewhat had this epiphany that if she didn't take on the legacy of her family, there would be no one else to continue that story. So with her tech background, startup culture, she brought in that element of innovation and somewhat creativity towards a contemporary setup through this very, very traditional craft, hence the creative hub concept of Zapateria. The Philippines we have our own identity and we have our own concept of creation and our own taste and creativity that could become global, that we can bring that out to the global stage and be as competitive without having to be the next something when we could be just the Philippines, right? Well, initially when we were founded in 2017, there was a need for somebody to start the conversation with the younger folk, right? And being founded by a tandem of the previous generation and the current generation, there became a voice that spoke on behalf of those aspiring, those interested to be part of the industry. So Zapateria, as a creative hub, we actually became or served as that voice for them. And at the same time, to give dignity to our artsmen, our artisans, for this new generation of designer makers. So aside from being technically a creative hub, an incubator for them, we also teach the craft of shoemaking to anybody who's interested.
The future is looking bright for the city's shoe industry. Marikina was and always will be the shoe capital of the Philippines. If you're looking for arts and culture, or perhaps new restaurants to try out,
If you're feeling adventurous, or if you just want new shoes, this is where you want to be. Thank you for joining us here today.
this has been
Imagine Philippines, Marikina.